Hello everyone and welcome to this help guide. This is where we will show you how to download and install SPSS on a Windows device. So you can use SPSS on a Windows or a Mac operating system, but those are the only two operating systems that are supported. So if you've got something using Chrome, a Chromebook or Android, such as your tablets, unfortunately you can't download and install SPSS to those. So there is another guide to downloading and installing SPSS onto a Mac, but in this one we're looking at Windows platforms. So if you go to the university homepage, and then what you need to do is scroll down and click on Students, and it will take you to your My Day page. So this is where you've got access to all of the kind of core services for the university. So each of these tiles you can access Blackboard, First Point, Reach, which is the tablets, and what we're going to be looking at is the IT support tile. So if you click on that, it will take you to this page. So this is where you can log a job with IT. And you can access something called the software web store from here as well. So you can access that web store using either this tab, for software for staff and students, or from the left hand side you've got an option for the software web store. So I'll click on that. So the first time you log into the software web store, you will be, it's likely that you'll be asked to fill out a profile form. So I've already logged in, so that's why it's already been done for me, but once you've completed that, so you've just filled out some details about your course, I think, you should then be taken to this page. So you can see that you have a ribbon across the top here, and this provides access to all of the free or discounted software that you're entitled to as part of your degree. So we're interested in SPSS, so we need to select the IBM SPSS page. And it will take you to this page. Now you can see there are lots of different versions of SPSS. So there's something called IBM SPSS Statistics, and there's also something called IBM SPSS Amos. Now with SPSS Amos, you don't need that for your degree, so that is an add-on to SPSS that allows you to run things like structural equation modelling. So we won't be using that, so you can ignore anything with Amos in the title. But what you need to do is choose between the versions of IBM SPSS Statistics. Now, if you've got a relatively new device and you're using Windows 10, then it would be best to download the latest version of SPSS, which is version 26 that we have. But if you're using an older operating system, you might need to check which of these you need. So if you're using Windows, I think 7, Windows 8, then you might need to use Statistics 23. If you're in any doubt in terms of which version of SPSS to install, I would recommend installing the latest version you can for the operating system you have. But if you're not sure about the system requirements, if you go back to the IT support page, and you can log a job with IT and ask them for their advice, and that's the best thing to do. But I'm using Windows 10, so I'm going to download and install IBM SPSS Statistics 26. So if you click on that option, you'll be told a little bit about what the software is, and this is the point at which you need to choose the platform that you're using. So we're going to be looking at the Windows option in this video, but the alternative is the Mac operating system. So what you need to do is choose the platform and then click Add to Cart. Now I've already added it to cart, which is why it's coming up with this message. But when you do that, because you can only add this version to your cart once, but you can download it technically multiple times. When you click on Add to Cart, it'll likely bring up a request to confirm your name and your email address. Please use your university email address for that. Just once you've filled that out, it'll take you to your order details. So your order details will look something like this. So we can see that we've downloaded IBM SPSS Statistics version 26. And what you've got here is an authorization code. Now this is an old authorization code, but when you download SPSS for the first time, you'll get the new authorization code that is current for this year. So what happens is that every year we get a new license code for all of the versions of SPSS. So you'll be able to use SPSS throughout your degree, but each year around sort of July, August time, you will need to update the license code. So in a year's time, around July or August, you'll probably get a notification if you open SPSS up saying that your license is about to expire. You just need to log a job with IT and ask them to send you the new license code, and you can put that in and it will relicense your product. And we'll see how you do that in a moment. But for now, because you will have the latest version of the authorization code when you first download SPSS, if you just highlight that and then copy it, that's probably the easiest thing to do, and then we can add that into the right bit when we're prompted to. But what you need to do now is you need to choose to download the software. Now, if you're a Windows user, you'll be asked to choose between two versions. So you'll be asked to choose either the 32-bit or the 64-bit. New machines will be a 64-bit machine, but you can check which type of bit machine you have. If you type into your search box this PC, and then what you need to do is choose Properties, and it will bring up all the information that you need for understanding your machine. And what you can see here is it's a 64-bit operating system, so we know which version that we need to use. So you, if you find that and it says 64-bit, and the vast majority of machines will be 64-bit. Now you need to click on download, and you'll see it will start the download the client here. So we just need to wait for that to finish downloading, and then we can move on to installing. Okay, so depending on your internet connection speed, that can take quite a while, but now we have it downloaded. What you can do is just click on this to run it. It'll ask you if you want to make changes, to allow this app to make changes to your device, so you've got to say yes if you do. And it will bring up the Install Shield wizard. Now, I actually already have SPSS 26 installed, so my Install Shield wizard will look slightly different to yours. So, for example, here it will allow you to modify, repair, or remove. What it'll ask you is, do you want to install it? But if you click Next, again, I have this because I've technically already got it downloaded, so I'm just going to click on Modify. But you'll be asked if you want to install it for the first time. So this is where it would ask you if there are other help languages that you wanted to install. So I'll click Next. Now, do you need JAWS for Windows screen reading software? I'd say that JAWS can work with SPSS, so if you use JAWS, which is the screen reading software, then what you want to do is make sure it's ticked as yes. But unfortunately, it's very limited. It has very limited functionality with SPSS, but it can work to an extent with it. So if you use the screen reader, then it's worth choosing the option yes. The next thing it'll ask you is if you want to allow it to install essentials for Python. Now, Python is the programming language that SPSS is based on, so we want to say yes to that. So if we want to install SPSS, then we have to agree to the terms. And again. Now this is where you need to choose where you want SPSS to be installed to. So you can leave the default as C drive, but you can change that. So if you need to change that to the D drive or something like that, this is where you can do that. I'm going to leave it where it is for now. And then you would click install. Now this process can take a while, and you'll get a black screen for a while like this, command file. That's fine, that's perfectly normal. In a moment all the text will appear. That's absolutely fine. And now that process, for some machines, that process can actually take quite a long time. So don't worry if it does take a while. You might need to go and make a cup of tea. I've already got it installed, so that's probably why it's quite quick. So if I click Finish, now normally what would happen is that because I've already got SPSS installed, my version is already licensed. But what you would need to do, when you close that box, it will give you the option to open the license wizard, and that will open automatically once you've finished installing the product. You need to license it. If for any reason that doesn't happen, that's fine. All you need to do is search for IBM, and you need to choose this option. So you can ignore the commuter license. That's a different way of licensing SPSS. We need to use the license authorization wizard. So you would click on, and it will bring up the license authorization wizard. If you choose Next, you need it as the default option, so authorize user license a single copy. I know that seems a bit odd, but that's what you need to use. Now you click Next. Now this is where you would enter your license code. So we copied it earlier, so you can just paste it in. Now I'm not going to click Next because this is an old license code, so it won't work. But what you would need to do is click Next. And then you'll get a text box appear, and if it's licensed, some of the text will be green. It will tell you that the license has been recognized, and then you can click Finish, and you will have licensed SPSS. But what if you haven't copied that license across properly? Perhaps when you tried to paste it, it didn't work. That's fine. All you need to do is go back to your order details and choose it again. Now perhaps you may have closed this page as well. So if we imagine we navigate back to just the main page, how do you get back to that order history? You can't just click on SPSS and try and download it from the software web store again. It won't let you do that. You need to go to your name up here, click on the down arrow, and then you need to choose your account or orders. And in here will be a receipt for everything you've downloaded in the past. So the one that we're interested in is the version 26 that we downloaded. So you click on View Details, and it takes you back, and that's where your authorization code will be. So that, in a nutshell, is how you download, install, and license SPSS. If you have any problems, if you encounter any problems as you're installing the software or with licensing the software, which can happen sometimes, then you need to log a job with IT. So you would go back to your My Days portal page, click on IT support, and you need to log a job here. And as I said earlier, each year around July or August, you will need to update the license code using that license authorization wizard. And again, to get that new license code, you need to log a job with IT and ask them to send it to you. Okay, so hopefully that's been helpful, and have fun with SPSS.